welcome back to my channel and welcome to this interesting series of favorites 2019. Now I am very late in showing you my 2019 favorites because of many multiple reasons that I was not in town, I was traveling, I was at my place, so I didn't get time to film. So I thought, let me just start filming and show you guys what all I have been loving the most in 2019. Now favorites doesn't mean that I buy this year and start using it or something which I liked like 2 months and uske baad then I just kept it and I never used it. So favorites is something for me which I have been using from the time I've been doing makeup, and it is still my favorites. So that means it is turning out to be my holy grails day by day, or maybe I would have repurchased it. So I'm not going to show you some 100 random products here. I'm going to show you very minimalistic, some 4 to 5 foundations and some 4 to 5 primers, not more than that, because I really don't want to make top 10 or top 15. So today I will be showing you my favorite primers and foundations for the year 2019, which I love the most and why I love them the most, and why even you should try if you really want to get a foundation or a primer for yourself. So let's get into the primers first. The 2 primers I love the most from one particular brand is Lakme, the Lakme Blur Perfect and the Lakme Undercover Gel Primer. The Blur Perfect was the initial launch by Lakme, and then later Lakme launched their Undercover Gel during 2019. I did a full dedicated review on both of them on my channel. Now initially I used to use only Blur Perfect. When they launched the Undercover Gel, I went ahead and bought this one, and I'm already done with the tube. I really like both the primers for my skin type. I'm a combination to oily. Now the Blur Perfect may tend to be a little drying for the drier skin, so if you're a dry skin person, then I would say keep a little step away from this one. But this one is definitely going to work for old skin type, and it is lightweight, it is pore minimizer, but you have like humongous huge pores, then I would say this is going to do the job, but you will still not be satisfied with it. But then my face doesn't have any kind of huge pores, so these both primers worked really well during the year, and I did wear these 2 primers the most during my festives, looks, or for that matter long hour parties or occasions or going out, or even while traveling. I was carrying this primer a lot with me. So yeah, this is an amazing good quality primer by Lakme. Lakme don't do much of a good face products, I would say, but primer, I don't know what they did, but then primer really worked well for me. The Blur Perfect itself, I have been using the second tube, and definitely I'll be repurchasing the Undercover Gel. Saying that, another primer which made it to my 2019 favorites was the Maybelline Master Prime by Face Studio Primer Plus Base. Now this was initially not launched in India. It was recently, I would say during 2019 only, I would say it was there in India, and people started using it, and I bought it quite late. When I bought it, I started using it, and I was like, I think this can be a good replacement to Smashbox. Now not everybody can buy a primer which will cost you 2,900, so but this can be purchased by many of you, and many of you would love this primer. This is more of a cream based primer, I would say. Now cream based and a silicone based primer play a very different role when you get into priming. Now not many people would agree with me, but I do love primers, and I do feel primer is one of the most important step in your skincare routine. For me, primer is more of a skincare than a makeup step, because even if I'm not wearing makeup, I do love to wear a primer over my moisturizer, then put anything related to makeup like a powder, a blush, a bronzer, highlight, anything. There are days when you don't want to wear a foundation, but you do end up putting a powder, and that powder I really don't want to put on my moisturizer, so I like to go in with a primer. So this primer really comes handy and really does the job, and doesn't give me a very dry look, or a look where people can actually feel that there's a powder on your face. So this primer really worked well during the year, because I delivered in 2019. I was still a very new mother, and I was not into makeup too much, but I do love putting something. This primer really came handy, and you can actually see the tube is almost done. So I have actually use this, and if you're looking for a good primer, try this one. They have another variant if you have redness or a little more pore issues. Talking about the Maybelline Master Studio Primer, there's another primer which is very close to the one. Maybelline one, but this one is not easily available in India. This is the Colourpop All Star Matte Primer. Now this is a really amazing sticky creamy based primer. Now if you are a person who loves full coverage look, but you really don't want to look too dry, or I would say your foundation doesn't sit well, this is the primer to go for. Now this is not highly talked about, maybe because of one reason, that it is not available in India, and it is not very inexpensive when it comes down to Indian Instagram pages. But I would suggest you, if you can wait for a good discount and get it, it is a very good primer. If you are a person who wears a foundation but is not satisfied with the overall look, I feel you try this primer with the foundation. What it does basically, why am I pushing or saying that this primer is so good, is that when my foundation, generally all the foundations are matte, and I'm a combination to oily skin. So this kind of a weather, when I put this kind of a primer, the foundation doesn't look too matte or too drying, and the foundation sits perfect. And even during summers, the foundation sits perfect. It doesn't budge anywhere, it is not going to move anywhere. So that is why I absolutely love this primer. It is very good, and it is going to be your favorite if you get it. So yeah, this is another purchase which I did during 2019, and I absolutely loved it, and I will be repurchasing that tube again. Saying that, let's jump on to the last primer which I absolutely love, and is the L'Oreal Base Magique Transmoving Smoothing Primer. This is more of a thickest silicone creamy based primer. If you're a person who doesn't like silicone only or cream, or if you want a one primer which can actually do the job every time you put makeup on your face, I think then leave all the others I showed you, just get this one. So this is more of a thickest version of primer, and this works amazing. Like if I'm wearing a full coverage foundation, I will wear this primer, because it's not about that you wear a very light primer and then you end up putting too much of heavy foundation. It doesn't work like that. So try to match your products, because your base products really play a very important role, because later you're going to be putting a lot of other layers, and step by step you'll be going with more product. So your primer and your foundation has to coordinate with each other. Just remember to get a perfect primer with a perfect foundation. So I'm not saying buy 10 primers and 10 foundations. Maybe you have to just test it out with your primers again and again, and know which primer goes well with which foundation. Like I really know which primer goes well with which foundation. So this one really works amazing. I love wearing this one during summers, because it's way too humid or way too hot, and I'm a combination to oily, so I tend to secrete a lot of sebum around my face. So this primer really holds up, and I can easily survive 7 to 8 hours without any touch-ups. So yeah, those were the primers of 2019 which absolutely loved. I use them the most, and yes, I tried many other products, but these were my absolute go-to, my favorites. Saying that, let's move on to some interesting foundations which I have been wearing the most during 2019. And one of them is a repurchase, is the Nykaa Skin Shield Anti-Pollution Foundation. This is a holy grail. This is, I don't know, when I bought this I was not quite intrigued, or I was not like, okay, theek hai, Nykaa to launches. But then when I got it, I used it, I got obsessed with it, and I have worn this foundation the most out of all the foundations I have worn so far in my life. And this is the foundation which I have repurchased so quick in my life that I can't believe that I already finished one tube, and this is my second tube altogether. And this is not very expensive, and it comes in this nice tube form which is very travel friendly, very lightweight, very easy to use. I'm in the shade Toasty Caramel. All the shades will be mentioned in my description or on the screen, so don't you worry. So yeah, this is another interesting foundation which I loved, and this is like not going to give you any kind of breakouts. It's not a very heavy foundation, it's not a very full coverage foundation. It's more of a daily wear foundation, and if you are a person who wants to wear a foundation for a gathering but you don't want to look cakey or materialistic, then try this one. I think you will get your shade. Yes, I still feel Nykaa should get more shades because this is really a nice foundation. Moving on to another interesting foundation by L'Oreal. This is the L'Oreal True Matte Super Blendable Foundation. I don't have to talk much about it. Everybody knows it's one of the best foundations in Indian drugstore. It has so many shade ranges. You can get your shade, like the deepest shade you can get. So yeah, this is again absolute favorite because this has those illuminating shimmer. So when I don't want to look too matte and I want one that subtle glow on my face, I love to wear this. And today also I'm wearing this foundation. You know, I love wearing this foundation. Like, I know any day of the year, and if I'm confused which foundation to wear, I know this one I have to wear because I will never go wrong with it. And this is going to match me perfect. Like, I really don't have to work around too much with it. I don't have to match my face with my neck or anything because my face is much brighter than my neck. So it gets really complicated at times. You know, you have seen my tutorials. So this works absolutely bomb on my face. So this is the shade Golden Amber. I already have 2 more shades in it. I mix those 2 and use it. But then when I got Golden Amber, I was like, this is a perfect match. So you will definitely get your match. Just go to the store, check the shade and then buy. It's not a very expensive foundation. It's inexpensive. They have dropped down the price to $7.99. So I think $7.99 is still affordable and you can get your hands on this one. If you ask me, should you get this one or L'Oreal Infallible, get this one. Infallible, you can skip it because every other brand makes a matte foundation. But this one is totally different, little out of the box. Moving on, we are left with 4 foundations. So the another one is by PAC Cosmetic. Now this is something which is perfect foundation with shade, perfect finish. It is a matte foundation, but something is unique about this foundation. Whenever I apply this foundation on my face, I feel I have a very photo finish look on my face. That's quite different because I don't see it with many other foundations of mine. Like, you will actually feel it on your face. So this is like an amazing foundation by PAC. I use the shade 4.0. So I don't have to talk too much on it, like when I used it, how I used it. Yes, I have been wearing this foundation a lot in 2019. And mostly during the month of January to April, I was wearing this foundation the most because I was in Wellington that time of the year and I needed something which works really well in that kind of a weather because there it is 12 months cold. So this foundation really worked well. And during my festive occasions or for evening night parties where there is a lot of lights, I like to wear this foundation because this is a little tad bit darker than my skin tone. So what happens that even when it oxidizes, it doesn't look cakey or it doesn't give any kind of a flashback or an ashy look to my face. So this works really well for evening functions or anything for my face because of the shade and the formula it has. Whatever I've tried from PAC so far till date, I love everything from them. Moving on to some Maybelline. So Maybelline, please don't guess it because you will be wrong because this is not Fit Me. Apparently, I didn't use a Fit Me foundation for 2019. I just used a very little Fit Me foundation, the small tube one. And after that, I didn't repurchase it because I was like, I don't need Fit Me for some time. So I went ahead and got the Maybelline Super Stay 24-Hour Full Coverage Foundation. I've done a full review on this. So I'll not talk about too much. I'll not talk in depth too much about it. It's a full coverage foundation. And it will give you the most full coverage and it stays on. Like, the best part about this foundation is that it's lightweight, it's full coverage, and person like me who doesn't have too much going around, one layer is good enough. And if you're a person who has some redness or some blemishes or some spots, it is going to cover in the second coat. So here you're getting a very inexpensive foundation, a very full coverage foundation. It's like Maybelline, I was not expecting such a full coverage foundation, and it is not going to budge. I have worn this foundation for maximum, I would say, 13 hours, and I have not done a touch-up. Apart from like last May, after 10 hours or 9-10 hours, I have done a little bit of powder on this area. Apart from that, no, it is not going anywhere. Your blush, your bronzer, yes, it does fade away after some hours, but you will still look the same. So that is why I like this foundation. I would not say that I have used this foundation the way I have used the other foundation I've showed you so far, but this foundation is a must. Like, I really like it. I love using this foundation. It's a very good foundation. I'm not a person who loves full coverage foundation, so it is very difficult to please me with the full coverage foundation, and Maybelline did it. So that has to be my 2019 favorite का foundation. Favorite का foundation. हो जाता है ऐसे. Next up is something which I've been wearing lately too much. Too much means too much. Like, if I'm not wearing any other foundation, I'm wearing this only. Like, even if you see me, some photos of mine on Instagram and I just posted, that means I'm just wearing this foundation, is the Wet n Wild foundation. Again, this is very close to the Nykaa Skin Shield foundation, but Nykaa Skin Shield is much more of a, like, I would say, for me it is more of a better version, but this is also a better version. It's just that it will give you a more coverage. So this is the Photo Focus foundation in the shade Amber Beige. Again, lovely foundation, lightweight foundation, and the best part is it is available in India in a much inexpensive price. I think this is the most inexpensive foundation I showed you so far from all the foundations. So this is an amazing foundation. If you are eyeing this, get it. Don't be in a doubt. I don't have to talk too much on it. Everybody knows it is one of the best foundations, and Wet n Wild does some amazing products. So yeah, this was another foundation which I loved the most during 2019. And saying that, we are down to the last foundation of a different finish altogether. It's a stick foundation by Sugar Cosmetic Ace of Face foundation. This is how it looks like. I love this foundation for one very important reason, that it matches my face on point. On point means you cannot tell that I'm wearing a foundation, and it is a stick foundation and it blends like butter. Like, you don't have to do any mehnat with this foundation. It is that good, and it looks somewhat like this. Amazing. You need to get this. If you haven't got it, you have really missed something. So get this, you're not gonna regret it. I absolutely love this one. And the best part, it comes with its own brush. I have been wearing this, and when I travel, I like to carry this one nowadays. So when I was on a vacation, I was carrying only this foundation, and I was like sorted. It is such a lightweight foundation, good foundation, and it is not going to give you too much of coverage. If you're expecting a coverage, don't expect that. But if you want something for your base, then you can get this one. I'm in the shade 47 Borgia. So definitely it has to be repurchased again and again because I will finish it off. Saying that, these were my 2019 base products, primers and foundations. I hope you got some help. These are the only products which I used the most in 2019, and stay tuned for more 2019 favorites because they are just down the line. You will keep seeing them and you will get some help. Link to all these products and the reviews will be in my description. If not, you can click onto my channel and you will get all the reviews in a playlist called Reviews. So I hope you loved watching. Consider subscribing, it really means a lot. And click onto that small notification bell so that you get notified for my future uploads. And I'm quite active on my Instagram, @bronzinggeek. So till then, take care and bye-bye.